Good afternoon. We are gathered here today to discuss the ransomware attack against the Global Economic Summit, specifically the lessons learned from responding to this incident. Our agenda today is as follows. We will begin with a high-level overview of the incident and how it affected the summit and its attendees. With the background established, we will discuss the recovery efforts executed by Australia's personnel. Areas where our team excelled will be highlighted, as will those areas where there is room for improvement. Specifically, we will look at security controls and programs, operating system vulnerability management, and patch management. To conclude, we will share a few final thoughts on the incident and response in cyber threat risk and management. The Reviton ransomware attack left all of the summit's attendees with workstations that were, for all intents and purposes, were useless. The files on the workstations were encrypted, compromising the integrity and availability of the data. In addition to the workstation, the nation-states teams noticed that the software had managed to spread to some of the servers. Initially, the attackers were demanding $500 worth of the cryptocurrency known as Bitcoin to decrypt the files. This amount was later increased to $5,000. The source of the infection appears to be linked to an Excel spreadsheet. When this spreadsheet is opened and security warnings are ignored, files used to encrypt the user's data are pulled down from the attacker's server and an application is launched to run the malicious code. Evidence surrounding the ransomware attack was acquired through the use of forensic tools. Forensic tools enable ongoing efforts to identify and stop current attacks, as well as mitigate future attacks. Snort was utilized to identify where the malware was through its detection capabilities. An attachment was opened from an email containing an invoice, Callahan AU+O. Once the email attachment was opened, a security warning displayed an alert requesting a link update to be performed in order to access the file. Once the update was initiated, the ransomware was deployed unknowingly at the time through a PowerShell code. Wireshark analyzed network packets in order to determine how the infection spread to the other nations. The source IP address was identified as 192.168.10.201, and the destination IP address was found to be 192.168.10.112. It was determined that the infected system contacted the other nation's server and downloaded the files containing URLs that made the systems run unexecutable. CryptTool 2.0 decrypted the encrypted text files, and Oathcrack was used to crack the password in order to open the file and determine what information the file contained. Our Secret utilized stenography to extract the unlocker.exe and examine its content. The business continuity plan's outline incident response plan for malware was referenced to guide the recovery efforts of the incident response team. In an attempt to prevent the spread of the infection and reinfection as systems were restored to operational status, isolation of compromised systems was necessary. To that end, the team shut down network links and unplugged connections to the compromised systems. To understand the incident and protect against the same and similar attacks, packet captures and system logs were analyzed. Packet captures from the team's network packet brokers were especially useful. Analysis of the captures revealed information like the attacker's IP address and protocols that were used to perform the attack. The open source intrusion detection system, Snort, was leveraged to implement a means of detecting the Reviton ransomware attack. The response teams created signatures that, when matched, will generate an alert like the one shown in the figure. There were a few areas in particular where the engineering and incident response teams excelled. The packet captures and logs that included data from the attack underwent a complete and thorough analysis that revealed the source of the ransomware and aided in the creation of threat defense controls. Backups was another area where the team shined. The engineers and administrators did a fantastic job of creating and managing system backups, with full backups to the online on-site backup management system performed nightly, and backups to an offline off-site backup management system performed weekly. The incident response teams was able to leverage these backups to restore much of the data that had been encrypted and otherwise may have been lost. Throughout the recovery process, all parties involved followed the COM plan as outlined in the business continuity plan. Management and stakeholders were updated as recovery operations were executed and the situation evolved via 2 situational awareness reports and an intelligence debrief. As much as we may like to only discuss what went well, there are clearly areas where improvement was needed. Our security controls clearly were not sufficient. Access controls were updated after the incident to ensure that user accounts are incapable of executing programs and scripts. Additionally, limitations on the directories where code may be executed were also added. Our monitoring tools failed to alert to the incident. The initial alerts were generated by the users of the compromised system, which is obviously less than ideal. As shown earlier, signatures were created for the network-based intrusion detection systems to generate alerts in the Network Operations Center. The host-based detection solutions also need to be updated to detect and prevent malware from running. The ransomware attack was in part successful due to the lack of awareness or judgment from the users. The existing cybersecurity awareness training should be revisited to ensure extra emphasis is placed on acknowledging and listening to security alerts. We also need to ensure that ransomware is included as a well-developed topic. To supplement the awareness training, we will utilize bulletins and flyers posted to common areas and distributed via email. Another area that was lacking was operating system security. To infect the systems, the productivity program Excel had to launch a Windows command line program. Applications such as Excel should not be allowed to launch external programs. A final area of review is patch management. We should review the currently installed software on each system. We must then verify that these installed programs and operating systems themselves are receiving all security patches and updates. While these patches and updates cannot protect against unknown vulnerabilities, they can ensure the system is more resilient to those vulnerabilities that are known and can therefore be remediated and mitigated.
The Five Eyes nations share many of the same goals, which is why the Alliance exists in the first place. All members understand that knowledge is power. We all desire to protect our respective nations and assets, to increase overall awareness of cybersecurity threats and concerns, to be proactive rather than reactive, and to share as much as we safely can. As we are now at the end of our presentation, are there any questions?